Picture this, a world altered by moments so profound, their ripples are felt even today. Throughout history, we've seen events that defy understanding, events shrouded in mystery and wrapped in questions that have puzzled scholars and curious minds alike. These are the moments that have not only changed the trajectory of nations but also reshaped the very fabric of our societies and cultures. They are the whispers of history, often overlooked yet incredibly significant in their power to transform. Today, we embark on a thrilling journey into these lesser-known chapters of the past, from pandemics that shifted economies to political upheavals that redrew the lines of empires. Each event we explore has left an indelible mark on the world we inhabit. Join us as we delve into the depths of 50 historical occurrences, unveiling the mysteries that continue to captivate, and perhaps by the end, you'll view history not just as a sequence of dates and events, but as a living story unfolding through time with lessons and secrets yet to be fully understood. Now turning to the Black Death, we uncover one of history's most catastrophic pandemics that forever altered the landscape of 14th century Europe. Imagine a time when the air itself seemed to carry invisible terror as the bubonic plague swept mercilessly across continents. This epidemic, originating in Central Asia, traveled swiftly along the Silk Road and through ports, making its mark on unsuspecting lands. The Black Death did not discriminate in its devastation, claiming the lives of an estimated 25 million people, roughly a third of Europe's population. Such a toll proved to be more than just a health crisis. It was a societal earthquake that shook the very foundations of medieval life. Economies struggled under the weight of massive labor shortages, leading to unexpected shifts in power dynamics as survivors demanded better wages and living conditions. The mystery of its rapid and widespread transmission baffled contemporary and modern scholars alike. Was it the fleas on rats, the dense population centers, or something more sinister hidden in the annals of history? Beyond the statistics and the immediate chaos, the Black Death catalyzed profound changes in social structures, reshaping medieval Europe in ways we still see echoes of today. It dismantled feudal systems, altered the course of peasant revolts, and influenced art and religion in ways that would redefine cultural landscapes. As we unravel this dark chapter, the lessons of resilience and transformation become guiding lights, illuminating our understanding of this period's enduring legacy. As the next challenge unfolds, we delve into the chilling events of the Salem Witch Trials, a dark chapter in 17th century colonial America that resonates through history. Imagine a community gripped by fear and suspicion, where the mere whisper of witchcraft could seal one's fate. In 1692, the small town of Salem found itself at the center of this storm, as mass hysteria spiraled out of control and led to the wrongful execution of innocent people accused of witchcraft. This tragic period was fueled by a potent mix of fear, superstition, and sociopolitical tensions. It was a time when religious fervor and the fear of the unknown drove neighbors to turn against each other, with accusations often based on flimsy evidence and personal vendettas. The trials reveal much about the societal pressures of the time, including the rigid religious beliefs and the deep mistrust of anything perceived as different or threatening. In a world struggling to define itself amidst uncertainty and change, the Salem Witch Trials stand as a stark reminder of how fear can override reason and justice. The lessons learned from this tragedy highlight the dangers of unchecked authority and the need for due process and rationality in the face of mass hysteria. These events have since become a symbol of the perils of extremism and the importance of safeguarding individual rights and freedoms. As we reflect on this historical narrative, we are reminded of the timeless need for vigilance against the forces of fear and prejudice that can lead societies astray. Now turning to the harrowing events of the Rwandan Genocide in 1994, we confront an unimaginable tragedy that unfolded within the span of just 100 days. This catastrophe was fueled by long-standing ethnic tensions between the Hutu and Tutsi peoples, culminating in one of the most devastating genocides in history. As we delve deeper, we find that approximately 800,000 people were brutally slaughtered, an atrocity that shocked the conscience of the world. The roots of this violence can be traced back to decades of colonial rule, where ethnic classifications were exploited and deep-seated divisions were sown. This legacy of division was exacerbated by political power struggles and propaganda that dehumanized the Tutsi minority, setting the stage for mass violence. Despite the scale and speed of the genocide, the international community's response was painfully slow and limited. The mystery of why the world failed to act sooner, despite clear warning signs, remains a subject of intense debate and reflection. The aftermath of the genocide prompted questions about the effectiveness of global institutions and the need for reform in policies related to genocide prevention. Today, these terrible events continue to inform international frameworks aimed at protecting vulnerable populations and preventing future atrocities. The Rwandan Genocide serves as a chilling reminder of the consequences of indifference and the critical need for proactive international engagement in the face of emerging threats. As we ponder this dark chapter, we are urged to commit to a world where such horrors are not only acknowledged but actively prevented. As the next challenge unfolds, we turn our attention to the infamous Chernobyl disaster of 1986, a catastrophic event that left a lasting mark on both the environment and human health. Located in what was then the Soviet Union, the Chernobyl nuclear power plant experienced a catastrophic meltdown, releasing a cloud of radioactive particles that spread across Europe and beyond. In the immediate aftermath, the nearby town of Pripyat was evacuated, with residents leaving their homes, belongings, and lives behind within hours. The environmental impact was unprecedented, with contaminated land rendered unusable and wildlife suffering severe mutations. For humans, the disaster resulted in acute radiation sickness for those closest to the reactor, and an increase in cancer rates has been observed over the decades. The Soviet government's initial response was characterized by attempts to obscure the true scale of the event. This cover-up failed as radioactive particles were detected by foreign sensors, prompting an international outcry as the full scope of the disaster surfaced. This tragic event not only exposed glaring flaws in nuclear safety, but also highlighted the systemic issues within the Soviet regime, contributing to its eventual collapse. Despite efforts to enclose the site within a sarcophagus, the long-term effects of radiation still linger, posing ongoing health risks and serving as a grim reminder of the potential dangers of nuclear energy. The Chernobyl disaster underscores the necessity for transparency and rigorous safety standards in the nuclear industry, as well as the importance of international cooperation and communication during global emergencies. As we reflect on this pivotal moment in history, it is crucial to prioritize safety, transparency, and accountability to prevent similar catastrophes in the future. As the sun rises on the next chapter, we delve into the historic fall of Constantinople in 1453, a momentous event that heralded the end of the Byzantine Empire. This city, straddling the crossroads of Europe and Asia, held immense strategic and symbolic importance. For centuries, Constantinople had been a beacon of Christian orthodoxy and a bulwark against Islamic expansion. Its capture by the Ottomans not only marked a seismic shift in religious power, but also initiated a new era in world history. The siege itself was a masterclass in military innovation, with the Ottomans employing cannons of unprecedented size to breach its formidable walls. This use of gunpowder technology represented a turning point in siege warfare, forever altering military tactics. The city's fall opened the door to deeper Ottoman incursions into Europe and fostered a significant cultural and economic transformation. The new rulers repurposed the iconic Hagia Sophia into a mosque, symbolizing the synthesis of different cultures and the city's enduring legacy as a melting pot of civilizations. The fall of Constantinople also spurred European exploration, as routes to the east were now under Ottoman control, redirecting Western ambition towards maritime expansion. Thus, this event not only reshaped the balance of power in the region, but also had far-reaching implications that influenced the course of global history for centuries to come. Moving forward, we examine the tragic events of the Triangle Shirtwaist Factory fire of 1911 in New York City. This harrowing incident stands as a stark reminder of the perils faced by industrial workers in the early 20th century. The fire erupted in a garment factory housed in a building that boasted minimal safety measures. Locked exits and inadequate fire escapes turned it into a death trap for the predominantly young immigrant women working there. In mere minutes, the flames engulfed the top floors, trapping and killing 146 workers. This disaster laid bare the negligence and dire working conditions prevalent in many factories at the time. The public outcry that followed propelled a wave of reform that forever changed American labor laws and fire safety regulations. It was a catalyst for significant legislative changes, including the implementation of mandatory fire drills, the installation of sprinklers, and the establishment of building codes to ensure workplace safety. The tragedy also galvanized the labor movement, nurturing a stronger commitment to fighting for workers' rights and fair treatment. Thus, the Triangle Shirtwaist Factory fire not only highlighted the need for change in workplace safety practices, but also paved the way for future improvements in labor conditions, leaving a lasting legacy of reform and awareness. Now turning to the tragic tale of the RMS Titanic, the ill-fated voyage of 1912 remains one of the most infamous maritime disasters in history. The Titanic, dubbed the unsinkable ship, set sail with grandeur, boasting luxurious amenities and advanced design features of the time. However, beneath its opulent exterior lay design flaws that would prove catastrophic. The ship carried insufficient lifeboats, only enough for about half of the passengers on board, which was a dire oversight given the potential number of lives at risk. On that fateful night in April, an iceberg loomed in the North Atlantic, seemingly out of nowhere. The collision was sudden, yet the response was slow and fragmented, exacerbating the chaos that ensued. Many passengers were left with little time or means to escape, with lifeboats launched half-empty amid the panic. As the Titanic succumbed to the icy waters, over 1,500 souls perished, leaving a lasting imprint on collective memory. The disaster unveiled the perils of overconfidence and inadequate safety measures at sea. In its wake, the world witnessed significant reforms in maritime safety, including the establishment of the International Convention for the Safety of Life at Sea. These reforms mandated sufficient lifeboats for all passengers, continuous radio watch, and iceberg monitoring systems. The sinking of the Titanic not only highlighted the deficiencies in maritime safety, but also served as a catalyst for enduring changes, ensuring a safer future for ocean travel. Moving forward to the grim chapter of the Spanish Inquisition, a period that casts a long shadow over history. Initiated in 1478, it was driven by religious intolerance wrapped in the guise of state power. The Spanish Inquisition was more than a mere quest for religious purity. It became a tool for manipulating and controlling populations under the pretense of defending the faith. The methods employed were severe and often brutal, ranging from forced confessions to torturous interrogations, all aimed at rooting out heresy and dissent. Individuals accused of heresy faced trials that lacked fairness, with outcomes typically predetermined by the ominous machinery of the Inquisition. The specter of persecution loomed large over society, with countless lives disrupted or ended as a result of accusations. The Inquisition's influence seeped into every corner of Spanish life, shaping cultural norms and sowing fear across a diverse populace. Its impact endured over centuries, leaving a lasting imprint on Spanish society and culture. The echoes of this period still resonate today, serving as a stark reminder of how the intertwining of religious zeal and state mechanisms can lead to oppression and the curtailment of freedoms. While the Inquisition aimed to unify through fear, it ultimately left a legacy of division and a complex tapestry of cultural influences that continue to be reflected in Spanish heritage. Understanding this dark period offers insight into the broader struggles for religious freedom and tolerance, lessons that remain relevant as societies globalize and cultural dynamics continue to evolve. Now turning to the monumental event of the partition of India in the year 1947, a momentous occurrence that reshaped the subcontinent and its people forever. This seismic split resulted in the formation of two independent dominions, India and Pakistan, marking the end of nearly 2 centuries of British colonial rule. Yet, beneath the surface of newfound independence lay a complex web of colonial policies and political maneuvers that paved the way for this division. The partition was not merely a political reorganization, but a mass upheaval characterized by unprecedented displacement and communal violence. As borders were hastily drawn, millions found themselves uprooted overnight, embarking on perilous journeys to seek refuge in what was now a new homeland, one that supposedly aligned with their religious identity. This mass migration was accompanied by horrific sectarian violence as communal tensions, long simmering under colonial rule, erupted into widespread bloodshed and chaos. The decision-making process behind the partition remains shrouded in mystery and controversy, with questions lingering over how and why certain lines were drawn, decisions were made, and who bore the ultimate responsibility for the ensuing chaos. The impact of the partition is still felt today, as India and Pakistan grapple with unresolved border disputes and the legacy of distrust seeded during that turbulent time. Exploring this pivotal moment in history reveals not only the immediate human cost, but also the long-term implications on regional stability and the enduring quest for peace and reconciliation. Understanding the partition offers a lens through which to examine the delicate balance of political power, ethnic identity, and historical memory in shaping the future paths of nations. Moving forward, we delve into the harrowing period of the Great Chinese Famine from 1959 to 1961, a catastrophe that claimed the lives of an unimaginable number of people. This devastating event unfolded amidst the sweeping social and economic transformations brought about by the Chinese government's radical policies under the Great Leap Forward, an ambitious plan to rapidly industrialize the nation and transform it into a socialist paradise. However, the drive for increased production led to disastrous outcomes, as unrealistic targets and poor planning resulted in widespread agricultural failures. Compounding the crisis were adverse environmental conditions, including severe droughts and floods, which crippled food production and availability. The combination of policy missteps and natural calamities created a perfect storm, leaving millions to suffer from extreme hunger and malnutrition. The government maintained strict control over information, leading to a lack of transparency regarding the true extent of the famine. To this day, the exact mortality figures remain a mystery, with estimates varying widely and official records often contradicting survivor accounts. The Great Chinese Famine serves as a stark reminder of the human cost of political decisions and the fragility of agricultural systems in the face of both human and environmental challenges. Reflecting on this tragedy offers important insights into the complexities of governance, the importance of adaptive agricultural policies, and the need for open communication during crises. As we uncover the layers of this historical event, we come to better understand the profound impact it had on the lives of millions and the lessons it imparts for future generations seeking to balance progress with humanity. Now turning to the French Revolution's reign of terror, a period that epitomized the volatile and brutal nature of revolutionary France between 1793 and 1794. This era was marked by an unprecedented level of fear and violence, underpinned by political strife and radical ideologies. At the heart of this turmoil was the Committee of Public Safety, a governing body led by figures such as Maximilien Robespierre, who believed in using terror as a means of preserving the revolution's ideals. The motivations behind the Reign of Terror were complex, rooted in the desire to eliminate counter-revolutionary threats and consolidate power within the revolution's most fervent proponents. The result was a sweeping wave of executions as thousands faced the guillotine, accused of being enemies of the state. Among the most notable occurrences was the execution of King Louis XVI and Marie Antoinette, symbolic of the irreversible shift in France's political landscape. Yet, the Reign of Terror's reach extended far beyond royals, ensnaring a vast array of people whose only crime was perceived dissent. Robespierre, a man shrouded in mystery, wielded considerable influence during this period, orchestrating the purges with fervent zeal. His ability to inspire both fear and loyalty underscored the enigmatic power he held over the revolutionary government. While the Reign of Terror eventually subsided, culminating in Robespierre's own downfall and execution, its legacy endures as a testament to the dangers of radicalism unchecked. This dark chapter in history offers a cautionary tale about the perils of absolute power and the potential for ideology to override humanity. As we reflect on this tumultuous time, we are reminded of the importance of safeguarding human rights and ensuring that justice prevails over vengeance. This exploration into one of the most disturbing events of the French Revolution serves as a poignant reminder of how quickly ideals can become corrupted when driven by fear and fanaticism. Now turning to the Armenian Genocide, a harrowing chapter in history marked by the systematic extermination of the Armenian population by the Ottoman Empire during World War I. This genocide, which took place starting in 1915, is perhaps one of the most stark examples of the atrocities that can occur when power is abused. At its core, the Armenian Genocide was driven by a confluence of nationalist fervor, wartime chaos, and deep-seated ethnic tensions. As the Ottoman Empire sought to preserve its waning power, the Armenian people were scapegoated and targeted, culminating in mass deportations, massacres, and forced marches leading to the death of an estimated 1.5 million Armenians. The historical context of this genocide is rooted in a period of intense upheaval, where the Ottoman government, fearing dissent and collapse, launched a campaign of ethnic cleansing under the guise of wartime security. This brutal episode, however, is shrouded in controversy and denial, particularly by subsequent Turkish governments who have repeatedly denied the premeditated nature of these actions, framing them instead as unfortunate wartime casualties. The mystery surrounding the lack of global recognition further compounds this tragedy, as the genocide has often been overshadowed by the broader tumult of World War I. Many countries, influenced by diplomatic relations and political considerations, have hesitated to unequivocally acknowledge the genocide, leaving a legacy of unresolved conflict and pain for the Armenian community. This denial has not only hindered reconciliation but has also perpetuated the wounds of the past. As we explore the Armenian Genocide, we are reminded of the importance of historical acknowledgement and justice in paving the path toward healing and understanding. As the next challenge unfolds, we delve into the devastating bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki in World War II. These bombings, ordered by the United States in 1945, remain some of the most controversial military decisions in history. The atomic bombs dropped on these two Japanese cities instantly obliterated them, leading to the deaths of an estimated 200,000 people, either immediately or from the resulting radiation. Despite the overwhelming destruction and loss of life, supporters argued that the bombings ultimately saved lives by hastening the end of the war, while critics viewed them as unnecessary and inhumane. The mystery surrounding the political and military decision-making process remains a topic of intense debate. President Truman and his advisors faced a daunting choice, weighing the potential loss of more lives in a protracted war against the unprecedented devastation of nuclear weapons. This decision did not just mark the conclusion of World War II, but also introduced the world to the terrifying potential of atomic warfare, ushering in an era of nuclear tension and arms proliferation. The lasting impact of these bombings extends beyond the immediate human suffering, prompting global efforts toward disarmament and shaping post-war geopolitics. As we consider the bombing's repercussions, we're reminded of the profound moral and ethical questions that continue to challenge humanity in its quest for peace and security. Moving forward, we delve into the tragic Jonestown Massacre, a chilling event that unfolded in 1978 in the remote jungles of Guyana. This mass suicide and murder claimed the lives of over 900 followers of the People's Temple, a religious movement led by the charismatic yet manipulative Jim Jones. Jones, who founded the People's Temple in the mid-20th century, promised a utopian society based on communal living and racial equality. However, beneath this appealing facade was a darker reality of strict control and psychological manipulation. Members were subjected to intense scrutiny, fear, and isolation, often coerced into obedience through threats and punishment. The culmination of Jones's tyrannical leadership came on November 18, 1978, when he orchestrated what he called a revolutionary suicide. Members consumed cyanide-laced drinks, either willingly or under duress, resulting in one of the largest mass suicides in modern history. This tragic event raises haunting questions about the extent of human manipulation and the vulnerability of individuals seeking belonging and purpose. Adding to the intrigue are the lingering mysteries surrounding government involvement and the experiences of the few who survived. Why were warnings about Jones's behavior not heeded by authorities? What compelled followers to remain under his control despite evident dangers? Survivor accounts provide a glimpse into the psychological terror that gripped the Jonestown community, yet many questions remain unanswered. The devastating impact of this event reverberates through history, serving as a stark reminder of the potential consequences of unchecked power and the complexities of human psychology. As we peel back the layers of this dark chapter, we are challenged to reflect on the dangers of blind allegiance and the importance of safeguarding individual freedom and critical thought. Now turning to the dramatic events of 410 AD, we explore the sack of Rome by the Visigoth forces led by King Alaric. This event marked a profound turning point in the history of the Roman Empire, symbolizing its decline and vulnerability. For centuries, Rome had been the emblem of unyielding strength, a beacon of civilization and order. Yet, as the Visigoths stormed the city, this facade of invincibility was shattered. The motivations behind Alaric's attack remain an enigma. Was it merely a quest for territory and plunder, or did it stem from deeper grievances against the waning Roman power that had often dismissed and marginalized the Visigoth people? Alaric, once a Roman ally, had grown disillusioned by broken promises and exploitative policies, prompting his march on Rome. The sack itself was not just a military defeat but a psychological blow to the Roman psyche, challenging the empire's perceived invulnerability and heralding its eventual downfall. This assault exposed the internal fragilities within the Roman state, including political corruption, economic strain, and military weakness. As cities began to crumble under external pressures and internal decay, the unity once forged under Roman rule began to fracture. The sack's impact rippled through Europe, shaking the foundations of Roman influence and paving the way for the rise of new powers and the transformation of the continent's political landscape. It signified the end of an era and the dawn of a new epoch in European history, where the interplay of emerging kingdoms and cultures would shape the modern world. The mystery of Alaric's intentions continues to intrigue historians, prompting reflection on the complex dynamics of power, loyalty, and the inevitable cycles of rise and fall that characterize the annals of history. In this tale of ambition and betrayal, we find timeless lessons on the fragility of empires and the transformative power of historical events. As the next challenge unfolds, we delve into the Great Fire of London in 1666, an event that not only devastated the city but also catalyzed significant change. The fire began in a bakery on Pudding Lane and quickly spread, fueled by wooden houses and narrow streets. For 4 days, the flames ravaged the city, destroying over 13,000 homes, 87 churches, and several iconic buildings, including St. Paul's Cathedral. The fire's origins remain shrouded in mystery. Was it an accident sparked by negligent practices, or were more sinister forces at play? Some contemporaries suspected arson, possibly by foreign agents, during a time of political tension. Despite the destruction, the resilience of Londoners shone through. Rebuilding efforts commenced swiftly, leading to the creation of a cityscape designed to prevent future catastrophes. Streets were widened, brick replaced wood, and new regulations enforced improved fire safety. This transformative rebuilding process laid the groundwork for the modern City of London. The fire also sparked advancements in firefighting technology and methods, establishing organized fire brigades and equipment. The legacy of the Great Fire is a testament to human ingenuity and adaptability in the face of adversity. As we examine this pivotal event, it serves as a reminder of the delicate balance between destruction and renewal, where from the ashes of devastation, the foundations of a safer, more resilient urban life emerged, shaping the future of cities worldwide. Now turning to the grim history of the transatlantic slave trade, we confront a period from the 16th to the 19th century that saw the forced transportation of millions of Africans to the Americas. This enormous human tragedy was driven by economic motivations, rooted in the demand for labor to cultivate cash crops like sugar, tobacco, and cotton. European traders struck deals with African rulers to export people, treating them as mere commodities. The conditions during this journey, infamously known as the Middle Passage, were nothing short of horrific. Enslaved individuals were crammed into ships under appalling conditions, facing disease, abuse, and death. Beyond the individual suffering, this trade left an indelible mark on societies. It fueled economic growth in Europe and the Americas while devastating African communities, disrupting their social fabric and economies. The enduring impact on racial and social relations continues to echo today, seen in systemic inequalities rooted in this cruel chapter of history. The abolition movement gradually emerged, first questioning, then challenging the moral grounds of slavery. The relentless efforts of abolitionists, both black and white, led to the eventual end of the trade, though the legacy of these crimes against humanity endures. The mystery of the trade's long-lasting effect on racial relations remains a testament to the deep scars it left behind. Reflecting on this period is crucial for understanding the ongoing struggle for racial equality and justice. This dark history urges us to recognize the resilience and enduring strength of those who suffered, and remember the importance of fighting against injustice and inequality in all its forms. With the next phase of the journey in sight, we delve into the gritty reality of the Battle of Stalingrad during World War II, from 1942 to 1943. This battle stands as a monumental turning point in the war, marked by its strategic significance and unimaginable human cost. Situated on the banks of the Volga River, Stalingrad was a linchpin for both the Soviet Union and Nazi Germany. For Adolf Hitler, capturing the city symbolized not just a strategic advance but also a psychological blow to Soviet morale. For Joseph Stalin, its defense was paramount as it bore his name and was crucial for maintaining supply routes. The ferocity of the battle was unprecedented, with both sides enduring brutal urban warfare in a city reduced to ruins. Soldiers and civilians alike faced relentless bombardment, starvation, and harsh winter conditions. The cost in human lives was staggering, with estimates suggesting over 2 million casualties. This immense loss of life underscores the harrowing nature of the conflict. However, the mystery lies in the turning tides. Despite early German advances, Soviet forces, through steadfast resistance and strategic encirclement, managed to trap the German Sixth Army. This shift marked a decisive Soviet victory, altering the trajectory of the war and leading to their eventual advance towards Berlin. The battle's outcome not only changed World War II, but also reshaped the geopolitical landscape of Europe. As we reflect on this critical event, it serves as a somber reminder of the consequences of war and the resilience of those caught in its grip. Now turning to the harrowing chapter of the Holodomor, we examine the catastrophic famine that struck Soviet Ukraine from 1932 to 1933. This devastating period was marked by widespread hunger and suffering, deeply rooted in the policies of the Soviet government. Under Joseph Stalin's leadership, forced collectivization sought to consolidate individual landholdings and labor into collective farms. This move was intended to boost agricultural productivity, but instead led to a drastic decrease in grain production and rising discontent among the peasantry. As the state seized grain to fulfill export quotas, millions of Ukrainians faced severe shortages. The mystery surrounding the Holodomor lies in whether these actions constituted an act of genocide. Many scholars argue that the deliberate allocation of resources away from the Ukrainian people, combined with severe punitive measures against those who resisted collectivization, points to a systematic intent to suppress Ukrainian nationalism and independence. The true extent of the suffering remains a topic of ongoing debate, obscured by Soviet-era censorship and propaganda. Despite these challenges, the Holodomor left an indelible mark on Ukraine, affecting its demographics, culture, and the collective memory of its people. As the world continues to explore these contentious issues, the Holodomor stands as a stark reminder of the profound human costs of political and economic policies. Now turning to the symbolic and historical significance of the Berlin Wall, we find ourselves in the midst of the Cold War, an intense period of geopolitical tension between the Soviet Union and the Western Bloc. In the year 1961, the Berlin Wall's construction became a defining symbol of this era. Erected by the German Democratic Republic, it aimed to stem the tide of East Germans fleeing to the West. This physical barrier divided not just the city of Berlin, but also represented the ideological split between communism and democracy. The wall stood as a constant reminder of the divisions and animosity of the time, fostering an atmosphere of fear and surveillance. Fast forward to 1989, a wave of political change swept through Eastern Europe. The fall of the Berlin Wall became an emblem of hope and unity, marking the collapse of communist regimes in the region. Its dismantling was not just a physical act but a profound symbol of the triumph of freedom and the end of an era characterized by division. It paved the way for German reunification and significantly influenced Europe's political landscape, heralding the end of the Cold War and the dawn of a new era. The Berlin Wall's rise and fall continue to serve as a powerful testament to the resilience of human spirit and the enduring desire for freedom. As the next challenge unfolds, we delve into the dark history of the Ku Klux Klan, a group that emerged in the aftermath of the American Civil War. The Ku Klux Klan quickly became a notorious organization, wielding terror and intimidation as tools to resist the progress of racial equality and maintain white supremacy in the South. Founded in the 1860s in Tennessee, its members, cloaked in hoods and robes, carried out acts of violence and intimidation against newly freed African Americans and their allies. Despite efforts to dismantle the group during the Reconstruction era, the Ku Klux Klan experienced a resurgence in the early 20th century, fueled by a climate of racial tension and social change. During the 1920s, it expanded its influence beyond the South, positioning itself as a defender of traditional American values against perceived threats from immigrants, Catholics, and Jews. The mystery of the Ku Klux Klan's enduring influence lies in its ability to capitalize on fear and prejudice, adapting its rhetoric and methods to the changing social landscape. Even as civil rights movements gained momentum in the mid-20th century, the Ku Klux Klan found ways to persist, often infiltrating political structures and exploiting regional insecurities. This resilience highlights the complexities and challenges in eradicating deeply rooted systems of hate and discrimination. The Ku Klux Klan's story is a sobering reminder of the persistent struggle for racial equality and justice in America, reflecting both the progress made and the ongoing battle against prejudice and intolerance. With this understanding, we move to the next chapter, exploring yet another significant historical event that has shaped our world. Now turning to the fateful event of 1914, the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand in Sarajevo, a pivotal moment that plunged the world into the chaos of World War I. The heir to the Austro-Hungarian throne, Franz Ferdinand, was seen as a symbol of the empire's stability and future. His assassination by Gavrilo Princip, a young nationalist from Serbia, on June 28, 1914, is a story steeped in mystery and intrigue. Many historians have debated Princip's true motives, whether driven by personal conviction or manipulated by larger nationalist movements seeking independence from Austro-Hungarian rule. This singular act of violence not only shattered the delicate peace in Europe, but also set off a chain reaction of alliances and treaties, drawing multiple countries into what would become a global conflict. The assassination underscored the fragility of international relations at the time and highlighted how political tensions and nationalistic fervor could ignite a devastating war. The resultant geopolitical shifts were monumental, dismantling empires and redrawing borders, leaving a legacy of change that continues to influence global politics. This event serves as a stark reminder of how a single, calculated act can alter the course of history, reshaping nations and lives forever. As the sun rises on the next chapter, we continue to examine how such historical events have left indelible marks on the world's landscape. With the next phase of the journey in sight, we delve into China's Cultural Revolution, a tumultuous chapter in history from 1966 to 1976. This period was spearheaded by Chairman Mao Zedong, who sought to solidify communist ideology by eradicating capitalist influences and traditional elements from Chinese society. The Cultural Revolution was a decade fraught with chaos and upheaval, as it aimed to reshape the cultural fabric of China through radical ideological reform. During this time, Mao mobilized the Red Guards, a mass youth movement that fervently targeted intellectuals, cultural artifacts, and historical sites. Schools and universities were shut down, and millions were persecuted, subjected to public humiliation, or sent to labor camps. The legacy of the Cultural Revolution is deeply complex, leaving a lasting impact on China's cultural and social landscape. It brought about a significant loss of cultural heritage and intellectual capital, the full extent of which remains shrouded in mystery and debate. The revolution not only disrupted the lives of many, but also altered the trajectory of China's political and economic development. Today, reflections on this period reveal a nation grappling with how to reconcile its past while moving towards the future. The Cultural Revolution remains a poignant reminder of the power of ideology to transform societies for better or worse, and continues to influence China's path on the global stage. As we continue our journey through history, we uncover the profound and sometimes devastating effects these events have had on the world. As the next chapter of our exploration unfolds, we turn our attention to the Irish potato famine, a catastrophic event that spanned from 1845 to 1852. This period of intense suffering led to the mass starvation and emigration of countless Irish citizens, fundamentally altering the societal landscape. The famine was primarily driven by the failure of the potato crop, a staple food for the majority of the Irish population. However, the underlying reasons for such a dependency on a single crop invite a deeper investigation. During the preceding years, colonial policies had reshaped Ireland's agricultural practices, pushing small farmers to rely heavily on potatoes due to their high yield on limited land. This dependence, combined with the arrival of potato blight, resulted in a devastating food shortage. As the blight spread, it wiped out potato crops across the country, leaving people with little to eat. The British government's response to this crisis has been a subject of much scrutiny and debate. Their policies, often viewed as insufficient and delayed, exacerbated the plight of the Irish populace. This catastrophic failure highlighted the complexities and consequences of colonial rule, where economic and political decisions in a distant capital led to suffering on an unimaginable scale. The famine not only decimated the population but also prompted a significant wave of emigration, with many seeking refuge in countries like the United States and Canada. As a result, the Irish diaspora grew, leaving a lasting impact on global demographics. The legacy of the Irish potato famine is a poignant reminder of the vulnerability that comes with over-reliance on a monoculture and the far-reaching effects of colonial governance. Today, reflections on this period underscore the importance of diversification in agriculture and the need for responsive and empathetic governance. As we reflect on the events that have shaped history, the Irish potato famine stands as a testament to human resilience in the face of extreme adversity, while also serving as a cautionary tale about the perils of economic and political mismanagement. Moving forward, we continue to unravel the complex tapestry of historical events that have drastically influenced the world we know today. With the next phase of the journey in sight, we delve into the tense atmosphere of the Cuban Missile Crisis of 1962, a 13-day standoff that brought the world to the brink of nuclear war. This crisis erupted when the United States discovered Soviet ballistic missiles stationed in Cuba, just 90 miles from American shores. The revelation sent shockwaves across the globe, setting the stage for a dramatic confrontation between two superpowers, the United States and the Soviet Union. As both nations stood on the precipice of catastrophe, the mystery and complexity of diplomatic negotiations took center stage. President John F. Kennedy and his advisors faced the daunting task of navigating a path that balanced firmness with restraint. They grappled with the harrowing question of how to dismantle the imminent threat without provoking an all-out war. Simultaneously, Soviet Premier Nikita Khrushchev was equally concerned about maintaining strategic positioning and credibility without igniting a global conflict. Behind the scenes, a delicate dance of communication unfolded as both sides sought a resolution. Backdoor channels and carefully worded communiques became crucial in these high-stakes negotiations. The world watched anxiously, aware that any misstep could lead to devastating consequences. The resolution came through an agreement that saw the Soviet Union remove the missiles in exchange for the United States' assurance not to invade Cuba and the secret removal of American missiles from Turkey. This crisis, now a profound subject of study, showcases the intricate art of diplomacy and the significance of judicious leadership in averting disaster. The Cuban Missile Crisis remains a powerful reminder of the thin line between peace and war, emphasizing the need for astute diplomatic efforts in resolving international tensions. As we move forward, we continue to examine the historical events that have profoundly shaped the geopolitical landscape of our world. As the next challenge unfolds, we find ourselves in the midst of the Vietnam War, where an event known as the My Lai Massacre in 1968 shook the world. American soldiers, in a tragic turn of events, killed hundreds of unarmed Vietnamese civilians in the village of My Lai. This horrific incident sent ripples across the United States, sparking outrage and sorrow as details emerged. The massacre became a symbol of the brutality of the conflict and significantly altered public perception of the war. The gap between military orders and the actions taken on the ground became a haunting mystery. This dissonance triggered intense scrutiny and led to one of the most significant war crime investigations of the era. As the world grappled with the shocking revelations, questions arose about accountability and the moral conflicts faced by soldiers in combat. The My Lai massacre demanded a deep introspection into military ethics and highlighted the urgent need for reform in military training and command. It underscored the importance of human rights even amidst the chaos of war, leaving an indelible mark on history. In the aftermath, the event led to profound discussions on the rules of engagement and the protection of civilians in conflict zones. As we continue this exploration, we see how the repercussions of such events extend far beyond their immediate impact, shaping the moral and ethical landscape of global military conduct. As the sun rises on the next chapter, we find ourselves stepping back to 1963, a year etched in the annals of history by a moment that left the world in shock. The assassination of President John F. Kennedy in Dallas, Texas on a fateful November day marked a turning point in American history. The events surrounding his death have fueled countless theories and debates over the years, deepening the mystery of what truly transpired that day. Lee Harvey Oswald was swiftly accused of firing the shots that took Kennedy's life. However, Oswald's own assassination just days later added layers of intrigue and speculation. Was he part of a larger conspiracy or merely a lone gunman? These questions have persisted, prompting a myriad of investigations and sparking debates that continue to this day. The Warren Commission, established to investigate the assassination, concluded that Oswald acted alone, yet many remained unconvinced, leading to a flourishing of conspiracy theories. These range from speculation about involvement by government agencies to shadowy organizations with motives to change the political landscape. The mystery surrounding Kennedy's assassination has left an indelible mark on American politics, casting a shadow of skepticism over government transparency and fueling a culture of speculation. It altered the trajectory of the nation, creating a wave of public distrust in political institutions. The enduring fascination with this dark episode in history reflects its profound impact on American society, highlighting the complexities of truth, perception, and the quest for justice in the face of tragedy. As we navigate this journey through history, the echoes of Dallas 1963 remind us of the fragility of truth and the lasting shadows cast by unsolved mysteries. Moving forward, we come to the harrowing chapter of the Spanish flu pandemic of 1918 to 1919, a global catastrophe that claimed the lives of millions and left a significant scar on human history. This influenza pandemic spread with unprecedented speed, reaching even the most remote corners of the world. It became infamous not only for its lethality, but also for the shroud of mystery surrounding its origins. Unlike other pandemics, the Spanish flu was marked by a peculiar pattern of mortality, affecting not only the vulnerable young and elderly, but also healthy adults in their prime. This unusual trend left the medical community baffled and searching for answers in the face of a rapidly escalating crisis. The virus that caused the pandemic is believed to have originated in birds, yet the precise pathway of its transmission to humans remains elusive, adding to the enigma. As historians and scientists examine this bleak period, comparisons to modern pandemics like the recent COVID-19 outbreak emerge. Both instances highlight the critical need for rapid scientific advancements and global cooperation. The Spanish flu pandemic serves as a somber reminder of our vulnerability to infectious diseases and underscores the persistent challenges in pandemic preparedness and response. It also paved the way for improvements in public health infrastructure and epidemiological research, emphasizing the importance of learning from the past. As we reflect on this devastating event, we are reminded of the delicate balance between human resilience and the unpredictable nature of global health threats. Now turning to the dramatic and chaotic events that marked the fall of Saigon in 1975, This momentous occasion signified the definitive end of the Vietnam War. As North Vietnamese forces advanced towards the city, it became clear that South Vietnam's government was on the verge of collapse. What ensued was a frenzied evacuation, marked by scenes of desperation as countless South Vietnamese scrambled to secure a place on the last departing flights and naval ships. The images of helicopters airlifting people from rooftops remain etched in the collective memory, epitomizing the urgency and chaos during those final days. The political miscalculations leading up to this event are a topic of enduring debate. Many question the decisions made by both American and South Vietnamese leaders as they failed to anticipate the rapid advance of North Vietnamese troops. These missteps resulted in a frantic, last-minute evacuation plan that left thousands behind, igniting widespread fear and uncertainty. In the aftermath of Saigon's fall, a new era began for Vietnam. The country was unified under communist control, leading to profound changes in its social and economic landscape. For the United States, the event left a lasting impact on foreign policy and military strategy, prompting deep reflection on the costs of war and involvement in foreign conflicts. The legacy of the Vietnam War continues to influence U.S. military engagements to this day, serving as a cautionary tale about the complexities and consequences of international interventions. With the next phase of the journey in sight, we move on to address the heart-wrenching memories of the Tiananmen Square massacre in 1989, a pivotal moment in the history of Chinese human rights movements. With the next phase of the journey in sight, we delve into the Tiananmen Square massacre of 1989, a defining moment in the annals of Chinese history. This critical event commenced with student-led protests demanding democratic reforms and greater freedoms. As weeks went by, the demonstrations grew in size and intensity, capturing the attention of the world. However, the Chinese government responded with a severe crackdown. On the night of June 3rd into the early hours of June 4th, military tanks and armed troops moved into Tiananmen Square, resulting in tragic and widespread loss of life. The exact number of casualties remains unknown due to the government's strict control over information and media. This censorship has shrouded the true scope of the events in mystery, leaving many questions unanswered and fueling various unofficial accounts. Despite these efforts to suppress details of the massacre, its impact on human rights activism is undeniable, both within China and globally. It has served as a powerful symbol of resistance against oppression, inspiring countless activists worldwide to continue advocating for freedom and justice. The international community's response varied, with some nations imposing sanctions and others opting for diplomatic channels to express their concerns. The legacy of the Tiananmen Square massacre continues to influence China's policies and the global discourse on human rights, underlining the ongoing struggle for transparency and accountability. Transitioning into our next exploration, we take a closer look at the infamous Challenger disaster of 1986, a sobering reminder of the inherent risks associated with space exploration. Now turning to the Challenger disaster of 1986, we encounter a pivotal moment in the history of space exploration. On January 28th, the Space Shuttle Challenger tragically broke apart just 73 seconds after liftoff, resulting in the loss of all 7 crew members. Among them was Krista McAuliffe, a school teacher poised to become the first civilian astronaut. The disaster unfolded live on television, shocking the nation and prompting a thorough investigation into how such a tragedy could occur. Technical errors primarily focused on the failure of O-ring seals in the rocket boosters, which were not designed to withstand the unusually cold temperatures on the day of launch. This oversight highlighted significant flaws in NASA's decision-making processes, revealing a culture that had downplayed warnings from engineers and prioritized schedule pressures over safety. The Rogers Commission, tasked with investigating the disaster, uncovered these systemic issues, leading to widespread reforms in safety protocols and management practices. The Challenger disaster thus became a sobering reminder of the risks inherent in space travel and underscored the critical need for rigorous safety standards in the aerospace industry. It reshaped space exploration policies, reinforcing the importance of valuing human life over technological ambition. As we move forward, the lessons learned from this tragedy continue to influence how missions are planned and executed, ensuring that the memory of those lost contributes to safer futures in space exploration. With the next phase of our journey upon us, we delve into the complexities of the Bosnian War and the Srebrenica massacre, an exploration rich with historical resonance and human tragedy. Moving forward, we find ourselves amidst the turmoil of the Bosnian War, a conflict that shattered Europe in the early 1990s. This war, fueled by ethnic tensions following the disintegration of Yugoslavia, saw a brutal clash between Bosniaks, Croats, and Serbs, each vying for control in a region steeped in historical grievances. As the fighting intensified, the world watched in horror as the Srebrenica massacre unfolded in July 1995. In what has been labeled Europe's worst atrocity since World War II, over 8,000 Bosniak men and boys were systematically executed by Bosnian Serb forces, despite the presence of United Nations peacekeepers. The tragedy of Srebrenica became a stark symbol of the failures in international intervention, as political indecision and delayed responses allowed ethnic hatred to spiral into genocide. The mystery surrounding the delay in decisive action by the international community has been a subject of intense scrutiny and remains a painful chapter in modern diplomatic history. In the aftermath, efforts toward reconciliation have proven complex as communities struggle to rebuild trust amidst the lingering scars of war. Trials at the International Criminal Tribunal for the former Yugoslavia sought justice for war crimes, but the path to healing remains fraught with challenges. The events of the Bosnian War serve as a haunting reminder of the devastating impact of ethnic strife and the critical importance of timely and effective international intervention. As we close this chapter, it urges us to reflect on the necessity of learning from the past to forge a future where such tragedies are never repeated. With these reflections in mind, we now turn our focus to the Iran hostage crisis, a pivotal event that reshaped diplomatic relations and left an enduring mark on global politics. Now turning to the Iran hostage crisis, we delve into a tense chapter that gripped international attention from 1979 to 1981. In the heart of Tehran, 52 American diplomats and citizens faced a harrowing ordeal, held hostage for a staggering 444 days. This crisis was rooted in a complex web of historical tensions between the United States and Iran. The catalyst for this unprecedented standoff was the Iranian Revolution, which saw the overthrow of the Shah, a longtime ally of the United States. Many Iranians resented American support for the Shah's regime, leading to the storming of the U.S. Embassy and the capture of its staff. As the crisis unfolded, diplomatic efforts to secure the hostages' release proved frustratingly slow, marked by failed negotiations and high-stakes political maneuvering on the world stage. The failed rescue mission, codenamed Operation Eagle Claw, stands as a dark mystery, with technical failures and unforeseen challenges leading to a tragic end. This operation highlighted the complexity and unpredictability of military interventions, leaving a lasting impact on American military strategy. The hostage crisis reshaped diplomatic relations, embedding deep mistrust between the United States and Iran, effects of which echo through contemporary geopolitics. This event marked a turning point in U.S. foreign policy, prompting a re-evaluation of diplomatic and military strategies in dealing with hostile regimes. As the hostages were finally released on the day of President Reagan's inauguration, the relief was palpable, yet the scars on international relations endured. Each day of captivity served as a reminder of the delicate balance of global politics and the dire consequences of diplomatic breakdowns. As the sun rises on the next chapter, we move into the scandalous world of corporate greed with the Enron scandal, a saga of deception that shook the foundations of business ethics. As the next challenge unfolds, we delve into the notorious Enron scandal of the early 2000s, a tale of corporate deception that crashed through the walls of integrity and trust in business. At the heart of this scandal lay a colossal accounting fraud, a web of lies spun by one of America's largest energy companies at the time. Greed drove Enron executives to concoct elaborate schemes that inflated the company's financial health, deceiving investors and stakeholders alike. The mystery deepens when we consider the regulatory failures that allowed such massive fraudulent activities to slip through the cracks. Complex financial instruments and shadowy off-the-books partnerships masked Enron's true financial state, revealing glaring gaps in oversight and regulation. This scandal served as a wake-up call, highlighting the urgent need for stronger regulatory frameworks to prevent such deception. The collapse of Enron not only led to significant financial losses and the destruction of thousands of jobs, but it also reshaped business ethics, prompting substantial reforms in corporate governance. The Sarbanes-Oxley Act was introduced in response, aiming to increase transparency in financial reporting and hold corporate executives accountable. However, the legacy of Enron extends beyond legislative changes. It serves as a cautionary tale of unchecked ambition and ethical erosion in the corporate world. This scandal left an indelible mark on the business landscape, reminding us of the fragile nature of trust and the perils of turning a blind eye to ethical misconduct. As we reflect on these lessons, we move on to explore the intricate web of political espionage in the Watergate scandal, a tale of intrigue that led to a presidential resignation and forever altered the American political scene. As the next challenge unfolds, we delve into the infamous Watergate scandal of the 1970s, a political earthquake that led to the resignation of President Richard Nixon. This scandal, steeped in the mystery of political espionage, began with a seemingly simple break-in at the Democratic National Committee headquarters located in the Watergate office complex in Washington, D.C. However, what started as an ordinary burglary quickly unraveled into a tangled web of deceit, corruption, and abuse of power within the highest office in America. The break-in was orchestrated by individuals connected to Nixon's re-election campaign, aiming to wiretap phones and steal documents, which were part of a larger strategy to sabotage political opponents. The subsequent cover-up attempts, spearheaded by members of the Nixon administration, only deepened the intrigue and suspicion surrounding the event. As investigations progressed, it became increasingly clear that this was not an isolated incident but part of a broader campaign of political sabotage and espionage. The revelation of secret recordings made by Nixon in the Oval Office uncovered the president's direct involvement in the cover-up, leading to a constitutional crisis. The Watergate scandal not only shook the foundations of American politics but also eroded public trust in government. It prompted significant reforms in campaign finance, aimed at increasing transparency and accountability, and led to the establishment of stricter ethical standards for public officials. This scandal served as a catalyst for change, highlighting the importance of checks and balances in safeguarding democracy. It also underscored the vital role of investigative journalism in uncovering truth and holding power accountable. The legacy of Watergate extends far beyond its immediate political fallout. It remains a poignant reminder of the fragility of democratic institutions and the enduring need for vigilance against corruption and abuse of power. As we reflect on these profound lessons in political integrity, our journey continues, moving forward to explore the grim realities of the Rwandan Genocide and its harrowing impact on the world stage. Moving forward, we delve deeper into the aftermath of the Rwandan Genocide, where the international community faced a harsh reckoning of its earlier inaction. One of the most significant efforts in addressing the horrors of this genocide was the establishment of the International Criminal Tribunal for Rwanda. This tribunal was pivotal in prosecuting those responsible for the horrendous acts, serving as a beacon of hope for justice amid the despair. It marked a significant step towards holding individuals accountable for crimes against humanity. However, the journey of reconciliation in Rwanda was a complex and mysterious process that involved more than legal justice. The nation had to navigate the intricate path of healing and rebuilding trust among its people. Community-based Gacaca courts were established, providing a unique approach to justice and reconciliation, emphasizing restorative practices over punitive measures. These initiatives aim to foster dialogue, understanding, and forgiveness, acknowledging the depth of trauma while striving for a future free from past grievances. The international community also learned valuable lessons from Rwanda's tragedy: the necessity of early intervention in ethnic conflicts, the importance of recognizing warning signs of impending atrocities, and the role of global solidarity in preventing genocides became critical takeaways. While these lessons have informed diplomatic strategies and frameworks for conflict prevention, the challenge remains in their effective implementation. As we reflect on these impacts and lessons learned from the Rwandan genocide, it implores us to remain vigilant and proactive in safeguarding human rights worldwide. With our focus shifting, we now turn to another profound historical event, the Chernobyl disaster, examining its enduring effects on both the environment and humanity. With the next phase of the journey in sight, we delve deeper into the catastrophic Chernobyl disaster, a moment in history that left indelible scars on both the environment and human health. The explosion at the nuclear power plant in 1986 released an unprecedented amount of radioactive material into the atmosphere, affecting large swaths of Europe. The immediate aftermath saw a surge in acute radiation sickness among those who rushed to contain the disaster, with many succumbing to its lethal effects. As the dust settled, the true extent of the environmental devastation began to unfold. Vast areas of land became uninhabitable, deemed the Chernobyl exclusion zone, where life as it was known came to a grinding halt. The effects of the radiation are still felt to this day, with ongoing contamination presenting a persistent mystery. Local populations face increased rates of cancer and genetic mutations, posing long-term health challenges. The impact on ecosystems has been equally profound, with some areas witnessing a return of wildlife while others remain starkly inhospitable. This paradox adds another layer to the mystery surrounding the disaster's legacy. Scientists continue to study the region, searching for answers about the resilience of nature and the potential for recovery in such contaminated environments. The lessons learned from Chernobyl have been invaluable, shaping nuclear safety protocols and influencing energy policies worldwide. They serve as a stark reminder of the power and potential peril of nuclear energy, urging us to proceed with caution and foresight. As we navigate through these insights, we transition to yet another significant historical event, exploring the Fall of Constantinople and its dramatic impact on the course of history. Now turning to the enduring aftermath of the Black Death, we examine its profound social and economic changes that rippled across medieval Europe. This pandemic, which decimated vast portions of the population, sparked a dramatic shift in the labor market. With fewer hands to work the fields and tend to day-to-day tasks, labor became a prized commodity, leading to significant wage increases for those who survived. This newfound economic clout allowed the working class to challenge existing power structures, altering the fabric of feudal societies. Landowners, faced with a labor shortage, were often compelled to offer better terms to retain their workers, which began to erode the rigid hierarchies that had long dominated European life. The mystery lies in the way these changes set the stage for transformative societal shifts, laying early groundwork for the end of feudalism and the dawn of a more modern economic framework. Additionally, this period of upheaval saw the emergence of a more mobile workforce as people sought better opportunities beyond their ancestral lands, further reshaping social dynamics. This mobility contributed to the rise of towns and cities, fueling economic growth and leading to the burgeoning of trade markets. As communities rebuilt, the value placed on human life and labor began to reshape laws and customs, setting a precedent for future social contracts. The Black Death's legacy is one of paradox, as it both devastated and revitalized European societies, sparking a chain of events that would eventually lead to the Renaissance. Now, as we move forward, we cast our gaze on the dramatic events surrounding the fall of Constantinople, which ushered in a new era in both European and Middle Eastern histories. As we delve into the long-term consequences of the partition of India, it's crucial to understand the persistent tensions between India and Pakistan that have become a defining feature of their bilateral relations. The partition in 1947 not only resulted in the creation of two separate nations, but also laid the groundwork for decades of conflict and mistrust. One of the most significant and enduring issues emanating from this division is the unresolved border disputes, particularly over the region of Kashmir. This area has been a flashpoint for violent clashes and wars, with both countries claiming full sovereignty over it. The mystery surrounding these unresolved disputes lies in their deep historical roots and the complex interplay of religious, cultural, and political factors that make a straightforward resolution elusive. Beyond territorial conflicts, the partition has had profound implications for regional stability. It set in motion a legacy of communal violence and displacement that continues to affect millions of people on both sides of the border. Moreover, both nations have engaged in an ongoing nuclear arms race, further heightening regional tensions and posing a significant threat to global security. Despite numerous attempts at dialogue and negotiation, achieving lasting peace remains a formidable challenge, heavily influenced by domestic politics, historical narratives, and international interventions. The partition's legacy also includes the socio-economic repercussions of mass migrations, family separations, and the restructuring of communities, which continue to shape the social fabric of South Asia. These events serve as a sobering reminder of how historical decisions can ripple through time, affecting generations and influencing current geopolitics. As we ponder these complexities, we now turn our attention to another deep-seated historical event, the modern interpretations of the Salem Witch Trials, and how these haunting episodes of paranoia and fear have been understood in contemporary society. As we delve into the modern interpretations of the Salem Witch Trials, we uncover a captivating exploration of how contemporary society views this historical event. The trials, originally sparked by a blend of superstition, fear, and religious extremism, are now often cited as a poignant example of mass hysteria. In today's context, sociologists and psychologists have extensively studied the psychological and social factors that contributed to this wave of fear and paranoia. They highlight how societal pressures, fear of the unknown, and a lack of understanding can lead to irrational behaviors and scapegoating. The mystery deepens when we consider the parallels between the witch trials and similar phenomena in modern times. These include moral panics and conspiracy theories, where fear can quickly escalate into destructive actions against perceived threats. This historical episode serves as a cautionary tale about the dangers of groupthink and the ease with which misinformation can spread. The Salem Witch Trials are often discussed in the context of community dynamics and the roles that power and control play in stoking fear. This event provides a lens through which we examine how societal structures and norms can profoundly influence human behavior and judgment. As we consider these modern perspectives, it reminds us of the importance of critical thinking, empathy, and openness in combating prejudice and fear-based actions. By understanding the psychological and social triggers of the past, we can better navigate similar challenges in our present and future. With these reflections in mind, let us now turn our attention to another significant historical event, the cultural and historical impact of the My Lai massacre, where we will explore its profound effects on public opinion and military ethics. Moving forward, let us delve into the cultural and historical impact of the My Lai massacre. This harrowing event, which took place during the Vietnam War, dramatically shifted public opinion and left an indelible mark on military conduct and ethics. As news of the massacre spread, it triggered widespread outrage and became a powerful symbol of the war's brutality, influencing attitudes toward American military involvement overseas. The televised images and reports from My Lai brought the harsh realities of war into living rooms across the world, fueling anti-war sentiment and sparking protests. This event forced a re-evaluation of military protocols and highlighted the urgent need for ethical reform within armed forces. The mystery surrounding the orders and decisions made that day at My Lai prompted a deep examination of command responsibility and the moral dilemmas faced by soldiers in combat. This led to significant changes in military training and rules of engagement, emphasizing the importance of adhering to ethical principles even under extreme circumstances. The cultural impact of My Lai extended beyond the military sphere, influencing literature, film, and art, as creators sought to capture the profound human cost of war and the complexities of moral choices. As we reflect on the lessons from My Lai, it serves as a stark reminder of the need for accountability and the importance of safeguarding human rights in conflict situations. This historical episode underscores the power of public awareness in driving change and the critical role of ethical standards in guiding military conduct. Moving from this profound analysis, we now shift our focus to the ongoing struggles for the recognition of the Armenian Genocide, exploring the complexities of geopolitical influences and the impact on Armenian-Turkish relations. Now turning to the ongoing struggles for the recognition of the Armenian Genocide, we delve into a complex topic that continues to spark debate and controversy. Despite the overwhelming historical evidence, the acknowledgement of the Armenian Genocide remains a contentious issue on the world stage. Geopolitical influences play a significant role in this ongoing denial, as countries often weigh diplomatic and economic interests over historical acknowledgement. The reluctance to officially recognize the genocide underscores the intricate web of international relations, where recognizing past atrocities could disrupt strategic alliances or economic partnerships. This denial has profound implications for Armenian-Turkish relations, stalling reconciliation efforts and hindering dialogue between the two nations. The lack of recognition perpetuates a sense of injustice among the Armenian community, complicating efforts to heal historical wounds. Moreover, the debate extends to the halls of academia and cultural discourse, raising questions about historical memory and the politicization of past events. The struggle for recognition is not only a battle for historical truth, but also a fight for justice and acknowledgement of the immense suffering endured by the Armenian people. As we explore this complex issue, it becomes clear that the impact of geopolitical considerations on historical acknowledgement is a powerful reminder of how the past continues to shape present and future relations. With the next phase of the journey in sight, we examine China's Cultural Revolution and its lasting legacy, revealing the layers of cultural destruction and the attempts to preserve historical memory amidst the chaos. With the next phase of the journey in sight, we examine China's Cultural Revolution and its lasting legacy, revealing the layers of cultural destruction and the attempts to preserve historical memory amidst the chaos. The Cultural Revolution, which began in 1966 under Mao Zedong's leadership, aimed to enforce communism by eradicating traditional and capitalist elements within Chinese society. This period was marked by intense social and political upheaval, as well as widespread cultural destruction, Educational institutions, historical artifacts, and cultural heritage sites were targeted, leading to the loss of countless pieces of China's rich historical tapestry. The mystery of this cultural destruction lies in its paradoxical legacy. On one hand, it sought to create a new cultural identity free from past ideologies. On the other, it necessitated the erasure of historical and cultural memories that have long defined Chinese society. As China navigated the aftermath of the Cultural Revolution, efforts to reconcile with this part of its history began to emerge. The process of preserving what remains of China's cultural heritage has been intricate and ongoing. This effort reflects a delicate balance between acknowledging the Cultural Revolution's impact and the desire to move forward. The legacy of the Cultural Revolution continues to influence China's approach to historical preservation and the politics of memory. It serves as an enduring reminder of how political movements can shape cultural landscapes, influencing not only the present but also the way future generations understand their past. As we delve deeper into these historical narratives, we uncover how the preservation of history becomes a powerful tool in defining national identity and collective memory. Moving forward, we confront the tumultuous chapter of the Holodomor in Soviet Ukraine, exploring the historical and legal debates that still surround this devastating famine. With the next phase of the journey in sight, we turn our attention to the Holodomor, a devastating famine that struck Soviet Ukraine in the early 1930s. This catastrophic event, resulting in the deaths of millions, remains a deeply contentious subject of historical and legal debates. At the heart of these discussions is the mystery of archival evidence. Much of the period's documentation is shrouded in secrecy, with some records hidden or destroyed under the Soviet regime. These gaps in the historical record pose significant challenges for researchers striving to uncover the full truth of the Holodomor. Ongoing research into Soviet-era policies reveals a complex web of political and economic actions contributing to the famine. Scholars investigate the forced collectivization policies of Joseph Stalin's government and their impact on the Ukrainian population. Yet, the extent to which these policies were intended to target Ukrainians specifically remains a point of fierce debate. Another layer of complexity arises in the challenge of achieving consensus on labeling the Holodomor as genocide. The United Nations defines genocide as acts committed with the intent to destroy, in whole or in part, a national, ethnic, racial, or religious group. Whether the Holodomor fits this definition is debated among historians, politicians, and legal experts. Some argue that the starvation of millions was a deliberate act of genocide against the Ukrainian people, while others see it as a tragic result of failed policies without genocidal intent. These differing perspectives profoundly affect how nations, including Ukraine and Russia, choose to acknowledge and memorialize the event. The ongoing dialogue around the Holodomor reflects broader issues of historical memory and national identity. By seeking clarity amidst conflicting narratives, we deepen our understanding of how societies reconcile with painful pasts. This examination also underscores the critical role of historical research in informing contemporary debates on human rights and justice. As our exploration of these intricate historical debates continues, we turn now to the echoes of another tragic period in history, diving into the assassination of John F. Kennedy, a moment that forever altered American society and consciousness. Now turning to the assassination of John F. Kennedy, we delve deeper into the pervasive conspiracy theories that have surrounded this critical moment in American history. On November 22, 1963, the shocking event unfolded in Dallas, Texas, when the president was fatally shot while riding in a motorcade. The official investigation, led by the Warren Commission, concluded that Lee Harvey Oswald acted alone. However, this explanation has been met with skepticism, fueling widespread theories about the true nature of the crime. Among the most persistent conspiracies is the belief that multiple individuals or groups orchestrated the assassination. These range from accusations involving the Central Intelligence Agency, organized crime syndicates, to even foreign governments. Each theory suggests a complicated web of motives, adding layers of intrigue to an already complex event. The mystery is compounded by conflicting evidence, such as the infamous Zapruder film, which some claim shows inconsistencies with the single bullet theory posited by the Warren Report. This visual documentation, while crucial, has been scrutinized for its portrayal of events, leading to endless debates about what truly happened on that day. Beyond the pursuit of truth, these theories have permeated American culture, shaping both the public consciousness and the broader narrative of mistrust in governmental institutions. Literature, films, and documentaries have explored these alternate accounts, reflecting society's fascination with unraveling hidden truths. This cultural impact has established Kennedy's assassination as both a historical event and a symbol of intrigue and skepticism. The ongoing discussions around these theories illustrate a greater quest for understanding the implications of that day in Dallas. As we ponder these possibilities, they invite us to reflect on how significant events become woven into the fabric of cultural identity, influencing our views on authority and transparency. With these insights fresh in mind, we continue our journey through history, moving forward to explore another profound and controversial episode: the construction and fall of the Berlin Wall, a poignant symbol of division and eventual reunification. In conclusion, our journey through these 50 disturbing historical events has illuminated the deep and often unsettling impact they have had on the world. Each event has left an indelible mark on history, challenging our perceptions and understanding of the past. From the mysteries surrounding assassinations to the monumental shifts brought by political upheavals like the Berlin Wall, these events serve as reminders of the complex forces that shape our societies. As we reflect on these historical milestones, we are reminded of the importance of learning from the past. By examining the intricacies and consequences of these events, we can gain insights into current challenges and future opportunities. We invite you, our viewers, to share your thoughts and insights in the comments below. Your engagement enriches this ongoing exploration of history, helping to create a vibrant community of history enthusiasts eager to delve deeper into these compelling narratives. Remember to subscribe to our channel, like this video, and hit the notification bell to join us on future explorations into the fascinating world of history. Together, we can continue to uncover the layers of the past and better understand the complexities of our shared human experience.